Mahito's hand touches Nobara Kugisaki's face. The sickening sound of flesh distorting echoes through the Shibuya subway station. Her eye bursts from its socket. She falls backward onto the cold concrete. Yuji Itadori does not scream. He does not drop to his knees in despair. He does not freeze in terror. Instead, the greatest spike of pure, unadulterated hatred he has ever experienced floods his nervous system. This is the breaking point. The trauma does not shatter his mind. It shatters the barrier between his own soul and the cursed energy festering deep within his flesh. Remember the conversation Satoru Gojo had with Yuji all the way back in Chapter 12. Gojo stated clearly that over time, Sukuna's curse techniques would engrave themselves into Yuji's body. The physical form and the soul are intrinsically linked in the Jujutsu universe. Mahito himself proved this concept time and time again through his own curse technique. Up until this exact fraction of a second in Shibuya, Yuji acted only as a sturdy cage. He relied entirely on his superhuman physical prowess and the martial arts application of divergent cursed energy to fight his battles. He was a brawler relying on delayed impacts, but cursed energy stems directly from negative emotions. It is fueled by grief. It is magnified by anger. It is weaponized by intense rage. Watching Nobara die right in front of him acts as the ultimate catalyst for an evolution Yuji was always destined to undergo. The sheer volume of negative emotion forces Yuji's soul to reach for anything that can inflict pain. He digs deeper into his own core than he ever thought possible. He bypasses his own natural limits and breaches the shallow layer of Sukuna's cursed energy that has been steeping into his muscles and bones since he swallowed the very first finger at Tsujisawa High School. Mahito laughs. A twisted, mocking sound bounces off the subway tiles. He revels in the destruction of Yuji Itadori. He expects the boy to break, to give up, to let the disaster curses claim their ultimate victory. Mahito lunges forward. He extends his mutated arm to deliver the final physical blow to the vessel he believes is now defenseless. He wants to transfigure Yuji just enough to break his spirit without triggering the wrath of the King of Curses residing inside him. Mahito closes the distance, his hand reaching for Yuji's face to finalize the psychological torture. But Yuji raises his right hand. He does not form his signature fist. He does not prepare for a martial arts counter. He extends two fingers. It is pure instinct. It is muscle memory born from sharing a physical vessel with the most lethal sorcerer in history. Yuji mimics Sukuna's exact hand sign for his innate curse technique. He does not speak an incantation. He does not announce his attack. He just wants Mahito to bleed. An invisible blade of cursed energy rips through the stagnant air of the subway. A pristine, flawless dismantle severs Mahito's arm right at the shoulder joint. Blood sprays in a massive arc across the platform. Mahito stumbles back. He stares at his missing limb in sheer disbelief. He did not sense a buildup of cursed energy from a technique. He did not see a projectile approaching. His arm just separated from his body in a clean, perfect cut. The disaster curse stands frozen, trying to process the impossible physical phenomenon that just occurred. Deep inside the innate domain, perched atop his towering throne of skulls, Ryomen Sukuna opens all four of his eyes. He leans forward, his chin resting on his hand. For the first time in 1,000 years, the King of Curses is genuinely stunned. The brat did not beg for help. The brat did not propose a desperate binding vow to save his own life. Yuji forcefully extracted the technique embedded in his own flesh and used it without permission. Sukuna watches through Yuji's eyes, a grim realization dawning on him. The cage is learning how to use the weapons locked inside it. The host is no longer just a passive container. Yuji looks down at his own blood-stained fingers. The chaotic hum of his usual divergent fist is gone. In its place is a razor-sharp, terrifying clarity. He understands the shape of his own soul perfectly because he has housed another soul for months. By understanding his own soul, he inherently understands the flow of Sukuna's technique. And because Yuji perceives the exact contours of the soul, his slashes do not just cut physical flesh. They strike the very essence of the target. He realizes he does not need to rely on the unpredictable spark of a black flash to inflict lethal damage on Mahito anymore. Every single attack he throws from this moment forward will cleave straight through the defenses of idle transfiguration. Yuji takes a deliberate step forward. The role reversal is instantaneous. He walks Mahito down like an apex predator cornering a wounded animal. The fear that usually plagues sorcerers facing the disaster curses is entirely absent from Yuji's eyes. Mahito feels a cold shiver run down his spine. He panics. He opens his mouth and disgorges a massive swarm of transfigured humans, throwing dozens of twisted, agonizing bodies at Yuji to buy himself a few seconds of breathing room. He hopes the sheer volume of grotesque monsters will stall the boy long enough to formulate a counterattack. Yuji does not break his stride. He does not show a single ounce of hesitation or mercy. He waves his hand in a sweeping motion. A rapid-fire barrage of dismantles erupts from his fingertips. The invisible blades crisscross through the air, creating a deadly grid of cursed energy. They dice the transfigured humans into indistinguishable pieces before the creatures can even touch the ground. Severed limbs and destroyed torsos rain down around Yuji in a gruesome shower. He steps right through the gore, his dead eyes locked onto Mahito. The psychological warfare is over. Yuji is operating purely on the intent to eradicate his enemy. Mahito turns to run. He tries to scramble up the concrete debris toward the surface. Yuji flicks his wrist. A massive dismantle destroys the entire staircase, sending tons of rubble crashing down to block the path. Mahito darts toward a service tunnel. Yuji slashes the air again. A concrete pillar collapses, sealing the tunnel exit in a cloud of thick dust. Yuji is systematically cutting off every single escape route. He is trapping the disaster curse in a cage of rubble and invisible blades. Mahito is boxed in, deprived of his mobility, and stripped of his usual arrogant confidence. Mahito realizes he is no longer fighting a naive, easily manipulated sorcerer. He is fighting a monster wearing the face of a grieving teenager. The disaster curse understands that his usual tricks are utterly useless. If he touches Yuji, he risks infuriating Sukuna, though right now, Yuji seems far more terrifying than the King of Curses. If he tries to run, the invisible slashes will tear his physical body apart faster than he can heal. He has only one desperate option left. He must gamble his very existence on a domain expansion. It is the pinnacle of Jujutsu sorcery, and it is his final trump card. Mahito must trap Yuji and execute his soul before the boy can throw another volley of slashes. He forces his remaining hand to his mouth, using his own flesh to form the necessary signs. He activates self-embodiment of perfection. He intends to use a 0.2-second domain expansion. He plans to copy the exact desperate high-speed maneuver Satoru Gojo utilized earlier in the underground station to minimize the risk of Sukuna retaliating. Mahito pours every ounce of his remaining cursed energy into the rapid expansion of his innate domain, praying the sure hit effect will activate before Yuji can strike. But Yuji operates on an entirely different wavelength now. He moves faster than conscious thought. Driven by the agonizing memory of Kento Nanami exploding into blood and the fresh, horrifying image of Nobara falling to the floor, Yuji breaches the sound barrier. He closes the distance in a microscopic fraction of a second. He steps directly inside Mahito's guard before the disaster curse can even manifest the barrier of his domain. The dark aura of the domain expansion begins to bleed into reality. But Yuji is already within striking distance. Yuji places his right palm flat against the center of Mahito's chest. He does not use Dismantle this time. He taps into the far more lethal second half of Sukuna's dreaded arsenal. He activates Cleave. We know the fundamental difference between these two attacks from the official manga explanations. Dismantle acts as a standard flying projectile slash used to cut objects and weaker opponents from a distance. Cleave requires physical contact or extremely close proximity, but it adjusts itself. It automatically calibrates to the target's physical toughness and their cursed energy output to fell them in one single devastating swoop. It is designed to kill in one touch. Yuji takes the application of this technique one massive step further. Because Yuji perceives the soul, his version of Cleave calibrates directly to the density and structure of Mahito's soul. He ignores the physical flesh entirely. He bypasses the need to calculate physical toughness. Yuji pours every ounce of his grief, his fury, and his unending hatred into his palm. The cursed energy flares with blinding intensity. The technique triggers at point-blank range directly over Mahito's spiritual core. Mahito's eyes widen in sheer, undeniable horror. He feels the technique latch onto the very core of his existence. There is no dodging this attack. There is no mitigating the damage with cursed energy reinforcement. There is no splitting his body into pieces to survive the blow as he has done so many times before. A dense, inescapable grid of macroscopic and microscopic slashes materializes directly inside Mahito's spiritual framework. The slashes target the blueprint of his existence. Yuji dices the disaster curse into a million pieces from the inside out. Mahito does not even have the time to scream. The pain is instantaneous and absolute. His physical body disintegrates into a fine mist of purple blood and dark cursed energy. His soul shatters into pure oblivion, eradicated beyond the point of ever reforming. The plague of Shibuya, the curse born from human hatred, is executed by a human pushed far beyond his limits. Silence falls over the ruined subway platform, broken only by the sound of debris settling. The dust has not even settled when heavy. Deliberate footsteps echo from the dark tunnel. Suguru Gido, or rather the ancient brain Kenjaku wearing his stolen flesh, steps onto the ruined platform. He arrives exactly on schedule. His entire millennium-long grand plan hinges on this precise moment in time. The timing was calculated down to the minute. He waited for the sorcerers to exhaust the disaster curses, allowing nature to take its course while he manipulated the pieces from the shadows. Kenjaku orchestrated the entire Shibuya incident for one primary reason. He needed to push Mahito into life-or-death battles to force the curse to reach his true evolutionary peak. He needed idle transfiguration to evolve past its initial limitations. Kenjaku intended to swoop in at the last possible second, absorb the exhausted, fully evolved disaster curse using cursed spirit manipulation, and extract his technique via maximum Uzumaki. With idle transfiguration in his possession, Kenjaku would cast it remotely across the country, awakening the sorcerers he had marked and officially beginning the horrific death match known as the Culling Games. It was a flawless plan built on centuries of patience, but Kenjaku stops dead in his tracks. His confident, arrogant smile vanishes. He looks at the blood painting the subway walls. He senses the bizarre, terrifying residual cursed energy lingering in the air. It feels like Sukuna, but the signature is laced with the heavy, sorrowful weight of Yuji Itadori. It is a cursed energy signature that should not logically exist. Kenjaku realizes Mahito is not just defeated or weakened. Mahito is gone, erased from existence entirely. The core component of his thousand-year plan has just been vaporized into nothingness. Kenjaku slowly shifts his gaze to Yuji. He expects to see a broken, crying boy dropping to his knees, ready to be swatted aside or easily manipulated. He anticipates finding a traumatized child begging for mercy. Instead, Yuji turns slowly to face the ancient sorcerer. His eyes are dead, void of any warmth, mercy, or human vulnerability. His posture is relaxed, mirroring the chilling, predatory arrogance of the King of Curses himself. The air around Yuji hums with lethal, undeniable intent. It is an aura that promises immediate execution to anyone who steps forward. The ancient sorcerer stares at his own creation. He designed Yuji Itadori. He gave birth to him. He engineered the boy to be the perfect vessel, a sturdy, unbreakable cage meant solely to hold Ryomen Sukuna until the time was right. He viewed Yuji as a mere object, a tool to be utilized and discarded. But the cage has weaponized the prisoner's arsenal. Yuji stands before his creator not as a pawn on a chessboard, but as a fully armed, furious vessel wielding the most destructive curse technique in modern history. The dynamic has shifted in a way Kenjaku never deemed possible. Kenjaku calculates the odds in his head at lightning speed. He possesses incredible power, immense cursed energy reserves, and an array of stolen techniques ranging from anti-gravity to cursed spirit manipulation. He is one of the strongest beings on the planet. But Kenjaku is a survivor above all else. He has lived for 1,000 years by knowing exactly when to fold his hand and walk away from a losing battle. Facing a grief-fueled, unpredictable vessel wielding Sukuna's innate technique with perfect soul perception is a massive variable he never anticipated. It is a blind spot in his grand design. For the first time in his long, miserable existence, Kenjaku feels genuine terror creeping into his heart. He realizes that if he steps forward, he might suffer the exact same fate as the mist of blood coating the subway floor. He knows that Yuji Itadori will not hesitate to sever his head from his shoulders. He does not say a single word. He turns around and flees the subway, abandoning his master plan in an instant, leaving the boy standing alone in the silent, bloody ruins of Shibuya.